Hey YouTube, the season is starting over. We have Great League on, and we have the Ultra League Fantasy Cup. So if you're bored of playing Great League already, since there is no meta changes, and you don't want to face Lantern and Noctowl and Glaring Snefisk and Metasham and that trifecta there, this could be an interesting cup. So it is a 2500 CP, so Ultra League. So starting with Ultra League right away, that's interesting. But it's a Dragon, Steel, and Fairy with Glaring Tempest and Gabalion 9 rounds. So as of now, the rankings on PVPoke are not up, but what you can do is you can put in your custom, just customize it. So I customized it just to see the top 20, and then we're going to team build just from here using my team building skills, right? So let's take a look at this. So we have Lucario on the lead here as number 1. And it basically comes down to, I'm just going over like 1 through 20 like I always do, give why they're ranked where they are, and then I'll just kind of team build off the top of my head with these Pokemon here. So Lucario's number 1 because, again, Steel, Fairy, and Dragon. So if it's just a Dragon, you're hitting neutral. If it's Fairy, although you are half fighting, so you only take neutral from like charm damage, but you have Shadow Ball. And then the main thing is Steels, and I think there's going to be a lot of Steels in this. Counter Power Punch, you just ramp up, and Lucario is going to win a lot of matchups like that. Registeel, again, being a Steel is not bad when you have a Focus Blast nuke for your other Steels, and you have a Zap Cannon, which hits neutral in most situations, plus the main Fairy in this, which is going to be Tapu Fini, number 4, is Water, right? So it's super effective there. That's why it's there. Tapu Fini, again, is the main Fairy, but it's great when a Fairy doesn't have to have a move that is going to get walled by like a charm move that's going to get walled by Steels. So having Water Gun is a nice answer to all these Steels here. And it's just pretty bulky. Plus you still have the Moonblast for your Dragons, right? So I think it's going to be a great Pokemon to use. Excadrill and Escav, I'm going to put them in the same category, even though they're slightly different. But it's the main thing as it's your main sort of Steel answer to Steel, right? Mudshot, Drill Run hits the Steel super effective. Counter, Drill Run hits it super effective with Escav. So I think those two play a very similar role, where they're pretty spammy, kind of glassy in the Ultra League, but just in general, you're going to have a great matchup against most Steels, hitting super effective there. Magnezone is one of those where it's like you'll super resist Fairies if there are many here. As you can see, there's not a ton on the front page here. And then Wild Charge Nuke. Wild Charge is going to hit neutral in pretty much all situations. I mean, except actually, I shouldn't say all situations because Dragon resists Electric. But again, you're going to see on this list, it's not a ton of Dragons either. It's a lot of Steel secondary typings, right? So Galio, I think that's to pronounce it. This is a Psychic Steel, so kind of a unique type Psychic Steel, right? Yes, let me confirm that. Psychic Steel, yeah. Kind of a unique typing, where like you are resisting a lot of these other, like a lot of moves here, like super resistant to Dragon and Fairy, right? So it's a nice, I mean, that's just what Steel does in general. And then you take super effective from ground again. So it acts as a Steel that doesn't have Steel moves. It has a Fire Spin fast move, right? So Fire Spin, obviously great for every single Steel, Ice, Bug that you're going to see on this list, right? So it's a good thing to use. Psychic Fangs lowers attack, and then Iron Head is like a sort of a nuke, not a nuke, but like at least an okay hitting move. Giratina Altered, I think, is going to be one of the best save swaps in this meta. Again, because I don't think there's a lot of Fairy in this for starters. And then Shadow Claw, it's super bulky, and then Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak just spams like crazy, right? So I think I'm going to just quickly bring up the, oh, you can't even run the analysis in the thing here. That's too bad. So it's going to be a little trickier to team build today, but that's okay. But for the most part, like outside of these Ice, like Sandslash is obviously one of the best answers to it. But outside of that, I think you just be able to, and other Ghost. Like, I mean, Berserker is not a Ghost, but it has this Shadow Claw Foul Play, which is going to cause it problems. It's probably going to be a pretty good save swap. Sandslash and Berserker, they're very different, but they're sort of the same. They both have Shadow Claw, right? So you're going to do great against Giratina, and Shadow Claw is just a pretty hard-hitting fast move. Ice Punch, but and again, Bulldoze for the Steels, and Ice Punch kind of like as a bait move, kind of somewhat coverage. There's not a ton of coverage that you need Ice Punch for this one. And the same thing, Foul Play here is nice for Giratina, but mainly your close combat is what's going to nuke here. Togedemaru, like Magnezone Light, essentially, right? You have it for your Wild Charge. Fellstinger can ramp up, but It's XL, so I think most people are probably just going to run Magnezone, in my opinion. Steelix is like a nice, again, call it, I mean, I was going to call it Registeel Light. It kind of plays a different function, but it's sort of the main, like, Dragon Tail just like does pretty good neutral damage, lower the attack, crunch for, and it's decently bulky too. A couple bugs on here, which are interesting, because this bug, this is where my, I think, well, this is half water, so I think bug is going to be, yeah, bug's resisted there, so no. I was going to say this was where my typing lax comes in, where the bug is super effective against fairy, but I don't think it is. I think it's just super effective against psychic. But again, Techno Blast, right? This is why it's on here, because it's got so Fairy Cutter and Techno Blast is a pretty fast charging combo. And when you have a nuke here that can hit all these steals for super effective, that's why you're going to pick up a bunch of wins there. In Fortress, same thing. Bug Bite, not amazing, but having Excelled and having Earthquake. So it's basically what Pokemon has secondary moves to take out steals here, right? And that's why you get Sand Slash again with Bulldoze. That's how you get Steelix. Steelix again, just bulk there. Slurpuff is one of your only other fairies on this list. Great answer for anything that's not just like because it has Flamethrower. That's why I'm like, why is it beating all these steals? It's beating all these steals because it is a fast charger with Flamethrower and Play Rough. So that is interesting. So you do even in these bad matchups, like even against like Registeel and stuff like that, where they're just gonna get outbulked, like you still don't lose too bad there. So this could be like a nice little sneaky pick if you have one. But again, XL, right? How many XLs are we going to see in this? And then Giratina Magnet, right? So even though it's a top 20, it's like a top 12 because we have a lot of repeats on here. And then there's some like unique ones down here, which I think will have play. Like I think Fairy Wind, Wheezing, because it's pretty bulky and spammy. Empoleon, again, pretty good just general, where you're going to resist like fairy type moves and you're going to resist steel type moves because you have steel, have water, right? So pretty good as an answer there. Haxorus with counter, again, anything that's going to have counter to deal with all these steals in this meta is pretty strong. And then there's other like Florgas on here, same sort of situation. You can only throw fairy, but so you're going to get destroyed by the steals, and there are a lot of steals, but you'll take away all the other ones, right? Like Giratina Altered, like it's a nice answer for that too. So unfortunately, I cannot team build right now the way I normally do. So how I would team build is, okay, let's say I want to build around Lucario. You just need to think right away. Like what I would do if I'm building around Lucario, I'm like, okay, what is it going to be weak against? Well, it's weak against ground and weak against fighting. So I'm going to guess, so you're going to ramp up against Registeel, right? I don't even think you need to bait here. I just think you just go straight Power Punch, and look at that. They don't, yeah, you just, oh, that's a focus. Sorry, that's on the bottom. You just straight Power Punch. You are baiting a Power Punch and then landing a Shadow Ball. So that's interesting. Let me just take off Shadow Ball because I want to just see if they don't call the bait whether you win or not. Yeah, they just shield the second Power Punch, but you still just dominate. But so look at that damage against Registeel. You still last with 113 HP and are ramped up with 2 Power Punches, right? So Lucario is going to be a great answer for a lot of these steals. And like, look at these hard wins, anything that's weak to fighting, just these super hard wins. All these Pokemon that sort of resist fighting to a certain extent. But I guess all these are like half steel as well, so they still take neutral. But Giratina Altered, I think, is going to be the best, because even if you land a Shadow Ball with Power Punch, it's just so bulky and it's just going to outspam you. So if I'm using Lucario, I'm building something to beat Giratina. So you can go to Giratina and look at the biggest weaknesses. So a Sand Slash, no, because that makes you double weak to like fighting and ground. Registeel, Slurpuff, Tapu Fini. So I think Tapu Fini, quite honestly, is going to be a great pairing with Lucario. And like my initial thought when I was going to try a first team, because I have Lucario built up and I had Tapu Fini, is probably going to be these two combos, because I'm worried about like Escav in the Lucario matchup, and I'm worried about like you'll destroy all these steals, but I'm worried about like Giratina, and I'm worried about Escav. So I'm going to pair it with Tapu Fini. So I think those two are a common core, and then you either go like safe swap or like Giratina as a safe swap, or you double down and run like ABB style. So what I was thinking is you can do something like Tapu Fini on the lead, Lucario, and then pick your second Steel that you think has a better option. Like I don't have a Registeel, but what you could do is go Tapu Fini, Registeel, come in the Registeel because you'll still get like Focus Blast, Sap Cannon off, really. Probably grab a shield or do a ton of damage. Come in Tapu Fini and then Lucario in the back to sweep sort of thing. So that's sort of like AB style team. Registeel seems like one of those Pokemon where it's just like fine to build around. Like it's just so bulky. Your main losses are going to be like not even losses, quite honestly. Like your worst loss is Scalio. I don't know how many people are going to have this, but it may be one that you might want to build up because it looks like you take out quite a lot of the meta Registeel, Lucario, Escav. Again, Fire Spin is just such a good move in a meta that is dominated by Steels. But then you only have a Psychic move and a Steel move. So you don't really have anything to throw at most of these Pokemon, right? You can't throw anything at Steel Pokemon. So basically you're just like Fire Spinning, lowering their defense with Psychic Fangs, and just going hard with the Fire Spins. And that's basically how you play that Pokemon. But yeah, so Registeel is generally pretty safe. This is the type of thing where you can like do ABB style teams, you can do balanced teams, because Registeel can act as that safe swap, quite honestly. So you should be okay there. Tapu, weak to anything with an electric move, Magnezone, Registeel. So I think a good pairing for these two would be your Excadrill, because Excadrill is just going to, you lose to Registeel. Interesting. You really get outpaced, or I'm guessing one drill run does not take it out. Yeah, okay. So it takes two drill runs to take it out, and they're going to outpace you. I wonder if you take it in, if you outpace in the 2 shield though. Yes. So there, I figured as much. I figured that you get to the more drill runs before they get to move. So that's the thing. You will lose pretty hard in the 1 shield, but look at how much HP you have left in the 2 shield for Registeel. So I think Excadrill is going to be one of those Pokemon, because it is so spammy, where you can shield up moves and take switch a lot. So like I'm just gonna run the Tapu Fini here, right? So you just get like outpaced to the surf. Well, actually, if you get outpaced to the surf here, you're probably gonna get outpaced in the 2 shield too. Yeah, so Tapu Fini is gonna be a really rough answer to Excadrill. So if I have Excadrill and I have Tapu, so that's sort of a mirror match. You may want to go, I was going to say some sort of electric, but Magnezone, that make you kind of like ABB style again. I think that's like ABB is going to be the main way to build here, unfortunately, but yeah. And then these other Pokemon down here, like Berserker and Sandslash. Again, I think the main thing you're going to need to build is Registeel, because I think Registeel is just going to be such an amazing safe swap. So if I'm building a team, I'm building a team that probably has 2 answers to Registeel. I think Giratina is probably an okay one, because Focus Blast and Zapcan are both resisted. And you're pretty spammy and bulky. So I think that is a good answer to this Registeel safe swap. Even though you lose extra, Escav is a great answer, right? Because counter drill run, you're just going to, you almost still lose because of the Zap Cannon. Jesus. You still outpace here, barely, but you do. So I think Escav, Giratina combo there is also a great team to have. So that is it. I will come out with my first team tomorrow. I'm thinking, like I said, I think Lucario, Tapu plus is the way I'm going to go. I've got an answer for Registeel there. I've got an answer for like Escav here. I have an answer for Excadrill here to a certain extent. So I'm not worried about that. And then maybe Giratina as a safe swap. So quite honestly, I think if you want like a balanced team, some combo of those 3 are going to be your best balanced team. And right, because your main weaknesses here are going to be like Berserker and Sandslash, and you can deal with them with the other 2 Pokemon. So that is what I'm thinking for tomorrow. Anyways, that is it. I'm probably going to post this like half an hour before it comes up. And that is it. So I appreciate you watching. I will, yeah, it's okay. I was just like, oh, did I mess that up? No, it's okay. So I appreciate you watching. good luck this season. Don't forget your start piece, and I will see you guys in the next one.